If just start actually worked, you wouldn't still be procrastinating, would you? Because you've heard it 100 times, you've tried it 100 times, and it keeps not working. So either you're uniquely broken or the advice is wrong. If just start makes you feel worse instead of better, nothing is wrong with you. Most people blame themselves when it doesn't work. They call themselves lazy or weak or undisciplined. But forcing action under pressure is exactly what makes procrastination stronger. In this video, I'll show you why just start advice backfires, what's actually happening in your brain when starting feels impossible, and what works instead. This isn't mindset, it's nervous system mechanics. To be fair, just start sounds sensible, doesn't it? And sometimes it even works when the stakes are low, when pressure is low, when expectations are light, when you're calm, rested, and not emotionally invested. In those moments, starting does break inertia. But here's the distinction that most advice ignores. The version of you who can just start is not the same version of you who is overwhelmed. When your system is under pressure, starting is not neutral anymore. It's loaded. And advice that ignores internal load will keep failing you. All just start advice rests on one hidden assumption, that your brain is neutral about the task, that starting is just a mechanical decision. But in reality, the task carries weight. It carries pressure, expectations, identity meaning, emotional load. You're not avoiding the task. You're avoiding the feeling of starting the task. The possibility of doing it wrong, or of wasting your time, or of being judged, or of confirming a fear about yourself. Your brain feels all of that before logic ever arrives. This is where the science really matters. When pressure builds, your nervous system shifts into protection mode. Your brain stops asking, what's the best long-term move, and starts asking, what reduces discomfort right now? Under stress, threat detection ramps up, decision-making narrows, initiation shuts down. Your brain becomes excellent at avoidance and terrible at starting. Not because you're weak, because your system is prioritizing safety. Your brain isn't asking, should I start? It's asking, is starting safe? And if the answer feels like no, starting will remain blocked. No amount of discipline fixes that, by the way. This is the part nobody ever tells you. When you force yourself to start under pressure, your brain learns something. It learns this task equals stress. This task equals danger. This task equals threat. So next time, resistance increases. Every forced start trains avoidance. You push. You feel stressed. You associate the task with threat. You fail to maintain momentum. You feel guilty. Pressure escalates. And next time, starting feels even harder. This isn't a discipline problem, it's a conditioning problem. You're teaching your nervous system that work is something it needs to protect you from. This is where comparison shame creeps in. You see someone else just start and they do it really easily. You assume they're more disciplined than you, more motivated, more capable. But here's what's actually different. They're carrying less invisible weight, fewer open loops, lower emotional load, less identity threat tied to their work. Their nervous system is under less pressure, so starting does feel safe for them. It's not that you're worse at productivity, you're just overloaded, and overloaded systems don't initiate reliably. Here's the reframe that I hope will help you. Procrastination isn't resistance to work, it's resistance to pressure. So instead of asking, how do I force myself to start? Ask yourself this: what pressure is my system responding to right now? That question alone changes the dynamic. Procrastination stops being an enemy. it just becomes information. This is the foundation of the momentum reset method. We don't try to overpower resistance. We reduce the conditions creating it, because safety precedes momentum, always. So here's what actually works. First, you regulate. You lower physiological stress before asking for action. Second, you reduce the size of the task, shrink it until it feels almost too easy. Third, create a permission-based entry point. I can stop any time. You don't need commitment, you need safety. Starting becomes possible when starting feels safe again. So instead of saying, I'm going to work on this project, say, I'll open the document and change one sentence. Instead of, I need to finish this today, for example, you say, I'll give this 10 calm minutes. Your nervous system relaxes, resistance drops, and often flow appears on its own. That's not mindset, that's biology. So I want you to hear this. You're not lazy, you're overloaded. And just start advice fails because it ignores how your brain actually works. If this resonated, you might want to watch the companion video. It's called Why You Procrastinate Even When You Care. It's up here somewhere. And if you want a clear, step-by-step way to reduce overwhelm and rebuild momentum without panic or burnout, the Momentum Reset Method is linked in the description below. I'll leave you with one question. What task have you been trying to just start and failing? You don't need to try harder. You need a system that makes starting feel safe.